So, continuing with our model system studies, studies on synthetic oxygen carrier molecules are important for biological purposes like synthetic blood. Now, one might wonder that why do we need to have all these synthetic oxygen carrier molecules, why do we need to study them when their studies have already been carried out within the biological system. Now, these studies are important for biological purposes like synthetic blood, like substitute blood, where in cases where suppose if a person is meeting with an accident and there is no blood to be given to that person immediately, in that case synthetic or substitute blood is present, where substitute blood is a blood where the plasma is removed from the blood, and plasma, which is the protein part, and it can be stored for around 24 hours or more than that, and it can be given to the patient, and the patient can be made to survive for 24 hours. In the meantime, the normal blood can be arranged. So, for these purposes, for as life saving purposes, the studies on synthetic oxygen carriers is very necessary. Models also help to elucidate the bonding between oxygen and ferrous ions. Now, these synthetic oxygen carrier molecules, they are also very helpful in understanding what kind of bonding exists between ferrous ion, which is the component of metal component of heme, and oxygen. That is, whether the alignment or whether the bonding between ferrous ions and oxygen is bent or is straight. Apart from this, iridium can also be used as a metal ion in model compound. Cobalt can also be used as a central metal ion in model compounds. And one very important example is cobalt salane, which is a type of a synthetic oxygen carrier. It has a very complex structure and it is a very useful synthetic oxygen carrier which has been studied as outside the biological system. Now, once we have completed or once we have known how the oxygen transport is taking place in the body, we now need to know the proteins which store iron in the body and also the proteins which transfer iron in the body, because we have already discussed the proteins which store and transfer oxygen in the body. The protein which is carrying oxygen we know is hemoglobin, and the protein which is storing oxygen in the body we know is myoglobin. Now, the iron or the Fe2 plus ferrous ion which is present in the body, how it is being stored in the body is now what we need to know. It is being stored in the form of certain proteins. Ferritin is the protein form in which iron is stored in the body. Iron is stored in the body in the liver, in the spleen, and in the bone marrow in the form of a protein called ferritin. Transferrin is the protein which transfers iron or carries iron from ferritin to the bone marrow, where new red blood cells are produced. We all know that all the new RBCs are produced in the bone marrow, and bone marrow requires Fe2 plus. That Fe2 plus is picked up from ferritin by transferrin and supplied to it. Transferrin can recognize immature red blood cells and transfers iron to these cells, and the immature red blood cells are called reticulocytes. This is the structure of ferritin, in which you can see in the central core, in the center of the protein matrix is the Fe2 plus ion and or the iron, and it is surrounded by a lot of protein units. So, we will discuss the structure of ferritin in details now. Ferritin consists of a core and a shell, as we can see over here. It's a core which is containing ferrous ions, and the shell which is constituting the protein units. The core is inorganic in nature, consisting of ferric oxide with some phosphate and hydroxide groups in the form of a micelle. Like we study in case of when the action of detergents, when they form micelles, the same kind of micelle is formed over here, where in the center is the ferrous ion or ferric oxide with phosphate and hydroxide groups surrounding it. The diameter of the core is approximately 7000 picometers and the outer diameter is approximately 12,000 picometers. That means the ferric oxide in the center, which is forming the core, is approximately 7000 picometer diameter, and the outer diameter, which consists of phosphate and hydroxide groups and also the protein part, is approximately 12,000 picometers. The core is covered by a shell of an apoprotein called apoferritin. Apoferritin or apoprotein means protein without a prosthetic group, without a synthetic group, prosthetic group. Apoferritin consists of 4 subunits, each of molecular weight approximately 18,500. Hence, the core can be called as an oxide matrix with ferric ions in the octahedral holes. Now, ferritin is a very economical and a compact way of storing iron, and it is readily available from here. The daily requirement of iron in the body is low, that is approximately 30 milligrams per day to make new RBCs. Since the body does not regularly excrete iron, hence the daily requirement is very low. Transferrin is the protein molecule which picks up ferric ions from ferritin. It is a single chain polypeptide with 2 ferric binding sites per molecule. It can be seen in this structure. You can see the 2 arrows over here. These are the ferric binding sites in transferrin, and the rest is the amino acid chains or the protein part or the polypeptide chain. The molecular weight of transferrin is approximately 70,000 to 80,000. In transferrin, the 2 coordination sites are the 2 or 3 tyrosine residues, that is phenolic groups, and a couple of histidine residues. The 2 coordination sites for ferrous ions, because the role of transferrin is to pick up ferrous ions from ferritin and transfer it to the RBCs. Now, there are 2 coordination sites, 2 iron binding sites, which are 2 or 3 tyrosine residues, which are a part of the polypeptide chain, and a couple of histidine residues, and these are the 2 binding sites which are shown by these 2 arrows. That means at these 2 sites iron gets picked up or combined or chelated with transferrin. Ferric ions are bound to transferrin only in the presence of an anion in addition to these sites. The most physiologically active anions are carbonate and bicarbonate. That means transferrin can pick up ferric ions or iron from ferritin at these 2 binding sites which have been shown, and only in the presence of an anion, and that anion can be carbonate or bicarbonate. Physiologically they are most active, otherwise more anions which have similar properties to them may also be present. And why they are physiologically active? Because of the presence of carbon dioxide in the body. Carbonate and bicarbonate ions are in ample quantity, and the transfer of iron to hemoglobin is enzymatic in nature. This is the structure of transferrin. Now, once we have studied the proteins which are storing as well as transferring iron, we now come to an important protein which is called conalbumin. Its another name for this is ova transferrin, which is a protein present in egg white. We all know that egg white contains a lot of protein, and 12% of the protein content of egg white is conalbumin, and it stores iron. So, eggs are very rich source of protein as well as iron. Now, the role is not very clear. That means why iron is present over here, its role of this iron is not very clear, since RBCs are not being manufactured here. Like the role of iron in ferritin and transferrin is very clear, because they have to transfer it to the bone marrow to manufacture RBCs in the human body, in the animals. But in egg white, the role of the protein and iron is not very clear, because RBCs are not being manufactured. Instead, it is thought to be behaving as a bactericidal agent. So, the protein content in eggs contains a lot of ferrocyanins or ferric ions, and they behave as bactericidal agents. Now, the substances which are analogous to transferrin in bacteria are called siderophores. That means, just like in animals, the iron transfer protein is called transferrin. In bacteria, the iron transfer proteins are called siderophores. And siderophores are much simpler molecules as compared to transferrin. These siderophores, example in Enterobacteria, Ferroxamines, etc., these kind of bacteria, they are ligands which can pick up ferric ions required by the bacteria. In Enterobacteria, there are certain ligands like ferroxamines which pick up ferric ions which are required by the bacteria. So, in animals it is transferrin, in bacteria it is siderophores. However, transferrin has a greater affinity for ferric ions as compared to siderophores, as a result of which the bacteria are starved of iron. Now, what does this statement mean? That if the bacteria which are entering the biological system, they have a competition with transferrin for ferric ions. Transferrin having a greater affinity for ferric ions as compared to siderophores, they do not leave any ferric ions for bacteria to survive on, and hence the bacteria are starved of iron, and eventually the body's immune system destroys them. Similarly, there is another protein called lactoferritin, which is a protein present in mother's milk, and it imparts most of the antibacterial properties by remaining in the baby's stomach for 90 minutes without changing much, and then it moves on to the intestines. So, once the milk enters the baby's stomach, it remains there for 90 minutes. During those 90 minutes, it imparts all the antibacterial, bactericidal properties because of the presence of lactoferritin which is there in that milk. And lactoferritin is again a protein which is having bactericidal properties. And after 90 minutes, the composition of the milk does not change much, the composition of lactoferritin does not change much, and is passed on to the, or it moves on to the intestines and is excreted through the urine. Now, the half-life of transferrin is around 7 to 8 days, and the amount of iron needed in the bone marrow every day to make new RBCs is more than the total amount of iron transferrin can carry in one trip. So, each molecule of transferrin has to make several trips to transport that iron which is required by the RBCs. Now, there is a disease which is linked to the deficiency or the absence of transferrin in certain human bodies, and that disease is termed as atransferrinemia. This is a disease found in some people whose bodies are unable to synthesize transferrin due to some genetic defect. It is not a dietary deficiency disease, is not due to any kind of deficiency of iron, instead it is due to some genetic defect. These people suffer from iron deficiency anemia because their RBCs are not being able to receive iron. Since transferrin is absent, there is no protein to pick up iron from ferritin, so they suffer from iron deficiency anemia because their RBCs are not receiving any iron, and at the same time they have an overload of iron because ferritin is storing iron but no protein is there to pick it up. So, they have an overload as well as a deficiency of iron at the same time. So, such kind of patients or such kind of people can have the symptoms of both anemia, iron deficiency anemia, as well as excess iron, and this is due to the absence of transferrin in the bodies of such people having some genetic defect. Now, after we have discussed ferritin and transferrin, which are the important proteins which are present in the biological system storing iron and transferring iron, very important for the manufacture of new RBCs. Now we come to the diseases which are caused due to the deficiency and excess of metal ions inside the body. Just now we discussed about atransferrinemia, which was a disease, as we said, due to the absence of transferrin. So, as already mentioned, this disease is not due to either due to the deficiency or excess, but it is due to some genetic defect. But now we will be discussing about the diseases which are due to either deficiency or excess of metal ions which are required by the biological system. So, the metal ion concentration required in the body is controlled within fine limits. The metal ion concentration, be it any kind of an enzyme, be it any kind of a protein, wherever metal ions are there inside the body, they are required within very fine limits. A particular concentration is there. Below this limit of concentration, deficiency of the metal ion occurs, and above this limit of concentration, toxicity occurs. Since the metal ions are present in chelated form in the biological system with binding agents in the body, disorders can also be associated with the defects in functioning of the binding agents. What does this imply is that the metal ions are not free in the biological system. They are just not moving haywire in the biological system. They are always present in chelated form with binding agents, whether they are present in proteins, whether they are present in enzymes. So, if there is any defect in these binding agents, then it also can result in the disease which may be caused due to the deficiency or excess of the metal ions. So, apart from the concentration of metal ions, the role of binding agents is also very important. Apart from being in excess, the toxicity of the metal ions can also be associated with the location of metal ions. That means, if a metal ion is in excess in the body, excess from the amount which is required, then it will result in toxicity of that particular metal ion. Apart from being in excess, if the location of the particular metal ion, because all metal ions have a particular location in the body, so if the location changes, then also toxicity might arise. For example, when we had studied the case of sodium and potassium pump, where we had studied that sodium ion concentration outside the cell should be more and potassium ion concentration inside the cell should be more. In case of a sodium potassium pump, which is used for maintaining the osmotic pressure of the body, if the concentration becomes reverse, then in that case also it results in the toxicity of the metal ions. Now, autotrophs, that is generally plants as we talk about, they can adapt themselves to the deficiency and excess of metal ions in the surroundings. They have been they have an environment, or they have that ability that they can change accordingly to the deficiency and excess of metal ions. However, in the case of human beings, metal deficiency is generally associated with dietary deficiency. In the diet of a particular human being, if the diet is not up to the mark, or as we call diet which is required for maintaining the immune system, for maintaining a good health, if the diet is not proper, then also metal deficiency might occur in the human body. Now, the diseases which are associated with the deficiency and excess of the very first metal ion which we will be discussing is iron, since it's the most important metal ion inside the system. The deficiency of iron inside the biological system results in a disease called anemia. So, when enough iron is not ingested in the body, the storage of iron is not built up, and ferritin does not have enough quantity of iron, and hence fewer RBCs are produced, fewer red blood cells are produced. Anemia is a disease again which I have already mentioned, due to the deficiency of iron inside the body, and it may have certain symptoms like a pale skin and a person getting easily fatigued and not willing to work, always in a tiring mood. So, all these are symptoms of anemia of in a particular patient, and this is due to the deficiency of iron. Now, the remedy for such patients who are suffering from anemia, extra iron is to be given in the form of ferrous sulfate along with ascorbic acid, which helps in the absorption of iron. So, ferrous sulfate is given in the form of capsules, timed release capsules. That means certain capsules which when enter the biological system get dissolved slowly, and they release iron inside the body very slowly, and they have to be given along with ascorbic acid, because ascorbic acid is necessary for the absorption of iron in the body. Otherwise, simply giving ferrous sulfate will not be of any use. Iron will be, or ferrous ions will be just excreted out as such. And so, as I have mentioned, that is given in the form of timed release capsules, where ferrous sulfate is present inside a gelatin cover which dissolves slowly and causes less stomach problems, because otherwise stomach might get upset in case ferrous sulfate or ferrous ions are released in larger amounts in the biological system in the patient's body. Now, the disease which is associated with the excess of iron in the body is called siderosis, and this siderosis causes generally the dysfunctioning of liver. Liver ceases to function in case of siderosis, and generally iron is never in excess in normal human bodies. Its excess occurs only in some African communities where the food is extensively cooked in iron pots. In those cases only iron is in excess in the biological system. Now, there is another disease associated with or similar to anemia, which is called sickle cell anemia. This has nothing to do with excess or deficiency of iron. Instead, it is a genetic disorder where the hemoglobin of a patient differs in one amino acid residue from the normal hemoglobin. As we know, in DNA or in hemoglobin, there is a certain sequence of amino acids which is being followed. Like in DNA, it is ATGC, which is a certain sequence. Now, in similar case, in case of hemoglobin, there is a certain sequence of amino acids which is present in normal hemoglobin. Due to some genetic disorder, this sequence might be disturbed even in one amino acid, only one amino acid, which results in a disease termed as sickle cell anemia. In this case, the RBCs which are produced are deformed. They are sickle shaped, which have pointed ends, and the body's immune system recognizes them and destroys them on its own. So, once the RBCs are deformed and the body's immune system is destroying them on its own, then as a result of this, the RBCs are no longer present in the system, and once RBCs are not there, then a person obviously tends to this position tends to be fatal. The remedy for this disease, only remedy rather for this disease, is blood transfusion. Another kind of a disease which is again related to anemia, neither due to deficiency of iron or due to excess of iron. This disease, which is termed as pernicious anemia, is also called cobalt deficiency anemia. Cobalt, just like iron, is an essential metal ion which is present inside the body, and like in case of heme, where iron 2 is the central ion, in case of vitamin B12, cobalt is the central metal ion. In those patients where vitamin B12 is in deficient amounts, that patient, in very deficient amounts, that patient may suffer from cobalt deficiency anemia, also termed as pernicious anemia. Now, this is the structure of vitamin B12. As you can see, the cobalt metal ion is in the center of a porphyrin ring. If we compare it with the structure of heme, iron 2 is in the center of a porphyrin ring with methine bridges around it and a number of methyl and CH2COH groups attached to it. In the structure of vitamin B12, which has almost a similar structure, cobalt is in the center of the 4 porphyrin rings with one methine bridge missing. So, there is a lesser conjugation in vitamin B12, rest the structure is almost comparable with heme. So, if we see the structure of vitamin B12, the macrocyclic ring in vitamin B12 is called Corin ring, which is similar to the porphyrin ring in hemoglobin, and the only difference is in the conjugation of the two rings between the Corin ring and the porphyrin ring. This is the porphyrin ring, the ring surrounding iron 2, and this is the Corin ring, which is the ring surrounding cobalt 2. So, the only difference is in the conjugation of the two rings. One of the methine bridges is missing in between the two pyrrole nuclei in the Corin ring. As we can see in this case, in the Corin ring, one of the methine bridges is missing, and the conjugation hence becomes much less in case of vitamin B12. And around the cobalt atoms, there are 4 positions occupied by 4 nitrogen atoms from the Corin ring. The 5th position is occupied by an imidazole residue, just like in heme, and the 6th position is occupied by cyanide in the isolated form of the vitamin, which is called cyanocobalamin. So, this is all for today. We will continue in the structure of vitamin B12 and its functions and related study in our next series. Thank you.